some of your biggest years were obviously during ECW's heyday, during the Attitude Era, the period of the unprotected chair shot, the hardcore matches, a lot of stuff that you look back now and, wince knowing what we do about CTE. I mean, is there anything that you would have changed? Because your style was so unique, Rob. Is there anything that you go back and think maybe I should have done that differently? Anything that you think was like particularly impactful?
I mean, that's a great question. I don't really spend a lot of time in regret because, if you can't do anything about it, then don't worry about it, you know. But obviously, if we had the education and knew how damaging uh, some of the stuff we were doing could have potentially been, I wouldn't have taken those chair shots from Balls Mahoney that, like, I was almost guaranteed to get, whether you think it's an actual, mild minor concussion, or you just want to say it's getting your head rocked, whatever. But Balls Mahoney in particular, and this is just one example, but he specifically took pride in being the hardest chair hitting wrestler. Like, he really took pride in that, hitting the hardest, wham. And I took pride in my durability and proving that you can't hurt me. Boom, crack me right in the head, I'll take it. And wham, every night when he would hit me, I would almost, like, even though I wasn't out, sometimes it felt like I was waking up that quick, like a nitrous oxide hit, if anyone is familiar with that. But it's like your brain is like rebooting, and it happens so quick and down, and you just feel like you're in bed, like you're rolling over, you're comfortable. But then I see all the people and I can't hear them, and then they start coming in, and then I'm like, oh yeah, and it goes away so quick that I never worried about it. I never blamed anybody but myself. There's been some lawsuits, and a lot of lay people like to just assume that whatever they hear gossip wise, especially if it's something bad against the powers to be, they just want to automatically believe it. But
Yeah.
I never got forced to work when I was already hurt. I don't have any horror stories like that. I never even told anybody when I had a concussion, except for maybe 2 times. I can remember one right now, but I think there was another one. And I think I've only had a doctor, actually diagnose me maybe twice. Once was in TNA. I can't remember when the other one was. Maybe I lost my memory on that. But it was completely my responsibility. That was my choice to uh, go in that very physical direction to artistically express myself and showcase my talents. And so they didn't even know. Nobody even knew. What's funny is that not knowing that I would actually have something stick around for a while. There was a couple of times on TV where I acted like I did have a concussion, but whenever I did, nobody ever knew. But now with the fans, sometimes they'll see footage of that, and then they'll say, "Oh man, you can tell right there. Look at his eyes," and those are the little moments that make me happy that there is still, some magic to the business,
Yeah.
because so many fans think they have everything figured out, and they really don't. And when they make it obvious with things like that, it makes me happy that at least all of my old school foundation hasn't been eroded.
Yeah, and I love the magic of the business. I mean, I never want to lose that. I always want to be surprised by wrestling still at this age. Like I don't want to know everything about the inside. I like the magic. That's what drew me to it 30 odd years ago, and I still want a bit of that. But
Yeah,
look, I mean, I'm going to put in the show notes, about the CLF and the great work that Dr. Chris Nowinski's doing, and encourage people to read up on it, because I think, his purpose is incredible. What he's doing is amazing. It's great that you're speaking about it. And I think we have seen a lot of changes, since, the Benoit tragedy. There have been progressions, but this is still a very high impact industry. And I don't think wrestling has ever received the same level of mainstream acceptance or awareness in terms of the risks that athletes put themselves through in comparison to any other sport. And maybe that'll change. Maybe we will see a bit more, when the Netflix deal comes through and WWE bursts into many more homes and WWE goes through a big resurgence, maybe we will see more attention being paid to,
But
the
you
actual.
got to admit though, we don't see as many chair shots to the head as we
We
used
don't,
to.
and I'm
That's a
happy
good
about
thing.
that, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, even watching Attitude Era stuff in like I was aged like 14, 15 in the late 90s. I never liked that stuff. Like I always just wanted, the thing I've always loved about wrestling, Rob, is like I like the idea that people aren't getting legitimately injured. Like I like to know. I've always liked to know that actually this is really skilled competitors who are protecting one another, not out to injure one another. That's why I've never been a huge fan of MMA or boxing because I like to hopefully know that the people I'm watching on screen aren't hurting one another. Um, but look, I'm going to move on from concussions.
Don't
I want
talk to any of my past opponents, and you can keep
to.
up.